Retiring early isn't complicated. For you to retire early, cut your expenses, live frugally, eliminate debt, invest in index mutual funds and or have other passive investments like rentals. Live on a stable budget that takes into account rising costs. And then have investments worth 25 times your yearly expenses or have passive income that pays enough for you to live. So, you want to retire early, but are worried you'll make a mistake as you invest your money. You've heard stocks are risky and bonds have less chance of dropping in value. Even though you want to play it safe, bonds won't return enough for you to retire early. You need to focus on mutual funds that invest in the stock market. As a young person, avoid bonds and bond funds. As you get older and become a risk avoider, you can invest in individual bonds. You've heard the vague investment advice before. You don't get a clear answer and you fear risking your money on your own judgment. I'm here to tell you the simple truth. I want you to know the best mutual funds to gain wealth and retire early. I'll tell you exactly what you need and the percent of your income to put into each. But first, you need to understand the difference between mutual funds. Mutual funds are an easy way to invest your money each month. Investment companies manage mutual funds. Each fund owns stock in many different companies. Mutual funds are examples of investments from which you could regularly deposit and withdraw money. Some mutual funds leave it up to a fund manager to decide which stocks to buy and sell. These are called actively managed funds. There are some advantages to actively managed funds. They can have a higher than index fund return. They're diversified. But there's some disadvantages too. The management fees are higher. They're also subject to management errors and judgment. And they can have a worse return than index funds. Index funds are mutual funds with advantages over actively managed funds. Index funds invest in a broad spectrum of companies. They're diversified. These index funds follow the trends of the stock market up and down. By this point in your life, you've realized fees can eat up your income. Maybe you've had fees for banking or paying a bill late. Most mutual funds have fees as well. The key is to keep these fees as low as possible. Actively managed funds have high fees. Index funds have low fees. Also, index funds aren't subject to management errors and judgment. For example, if a manager of an actively traded fund thinks one company will surely do well and invests a significant portion into that one company, you could lose part of your investment. Use index funds to keep investment fees low and reduce the risk of management mistakes. There are some advantages to index funds. They're diversified. They have lower fees. They're not subject to management errors and judgment. They follow the trends of the stock market. But there is a disadvantage. They won't beat the average return of the stock market. Almost every investment company will offer index funds. Index funds have everything you're looking for in a mutual fund. With the money you have invested in index funds, you'll want to maximize your potential return and minimize the risk of your overall investment going down in value. Your best chance for success and to keep fees low in index funds is to put 70% into the S&P 500 index fund, 20% into the Dividend Achievers Index, and 10% into a foreign or international index fund. Investing in the stock market within the United States and internationally reduces volatility, the ups and downs of the overall portfolio. It also insulates you from currency exchange rate fluctuations. Most importantly, international investing dramatically improves diversification. With 70% in the S&P 500 and 20% in dividend achievers, you'll have 90% of your money invested in the top companies in the United States. When you add in your 10% internationally, you provide safety from losing money in the stock market. If one country's economy suffers and stock values drop, well, you'll have others that add a safety net to keep your investment return positive. During turbulent times, currency values, that's money, goes up and down from one country to another. Investing 10% overseas takes advantage of currency value fluctuations. These three funds are all the diversification you need with over 1,400 companies in over 20 developed countries. What you're about to learn is from the book, Fast Fire: Rules for Personal Finance to Quickly Become Financially Independent and Retire Early. It's by Dr. Jim Kay. Do you want to build the confidence to retire early? Do you need to know exactly how much money you'll need to last a lifetime and retire on your terms? Do you want straight answers and no complicated formulas? Do you want inside tips and tricks the wealthy use to invest and make more out of the stock market so you'll be able to quit your job sooner? Here, you'll get direct and clear guidance on where to invest your money. You'll be given smart, sound, straightforward personal financial advice with direct answers to become financially independent for anyone to retire early. You won't be sold on any memberships, classes, emails, sign-ups, or mailing lists. No scams. Just the information you need to retire rich and early. Less than 1% of Americans retire before age 50. This puts you at a 99% disadvantage of becoming wealthy and retiring early. But if you can follow the clear guidance and specific strategies in these lessons, you can become a member of the exclusive 1%. Now you've got your investment mix. You know which funds will make you wealthy and help you retire early. Start to make monthly contributions to these funds from your income. Split your income by the same percentage we talked about, 70, 20, 10. Every May, rebalance. May is typically a high point for the stock market. Pull money out of the fund doing well and get to your 70, 20, 10 split again. Rebalancing will limit your risk and improve your chances of a better rate of return. If you're a risk avoider or you're older, you'll want to safeguard your money but still strive to retire sooner than you thought possible. Investments best for older, 55 plus people or risk avoiders. Older people need to have stability in their finances. They can't afford to lose a bunch of money. They don't have time to rebound or go back to work if the economy doesn't improve. Risk avoiders want peace of mind and are willing to accept a lower rate of return to get it. The following mix has more stability because its focus is on the companies in the United States that continue to do well year after year. Having this mix reduces the likelihood of a weak economy negatively impacting a risk avoider's rate of return. The investment mix for older people and risk avoiders: 70% into the Dividend Achievers Index, 20% into the S&P 500 Index, and 10% into the Foreign or International Index Fund. The Dividend Achievers Index evens the highs and the lows you might see in a line chart. It has less risk of dropping in value as far and has less volatility. Also, each stock pays dividends that are reinvested. To further reduce the risk of losing money, rebalance to the 70-20-10 split in May. Hey, here's a warning. Investments can go down in value. If the economy goes into a recession for a length of time that falls into the period you're thinking of retiring, you may not be able to retire when you wanted. If this happens, you'll have to reevaluate your plan, go back to work, or change investment strategies. To stay retired, you need to keep a stream of income coming in from your passive investments. So be flexible. If the economy changes, find an income stream that will allow you to continue to enjoy your freedom. Most people who retire early set up a stream of income besides their mutual fund investments. A stream of income can reduce the amount of money you'll need in your investments. If you're making money each month from rentals, you won't have as much of a need to pull money from your stock market investments. If your stream of income is producing $5,000 a month after expenses, then you would use this money for your living expenses. If you have a lawn care business and that you began as a teenager and now you have employees running it for you, you can use this profit to pay for your personal bills. This is why most people who retire early have investments as well as a stream of income from a business that they set up when they were younger. People want to retire for different reasons and choose to do different things during retirement. Each person who retires early realizes wealth comes from being happy with what you have, and financial independence comes from having money. People typically define retiring as not working, but most of the people who retire early are still doing things that make money. They're simply doing what they love and happen to be making money at the same time. Some have realized that doing what they love can make them a lot of money. Other people have found their new income is nowhere near their old salary, but their lifestyle is one they want for themselves, their health, and their children. People who retire early choose to leave a career that pays well, but took up 50 plus hours per week. They realized their well-being and the well-being of their family was more important than making their boss happy. They understood raising their family would pay off emotionally more than getting a hefty paycheck. Rentals are an option most early retirees like. Instead of just relying on investments for your retirement, create a stream of income from rentals. A mix of index funds and a stream of income helps reduce the risk of a potential problem with the economy. The people who retire early typically feel they have more control over a rental than they do compared to the stock market. For them, the feeling of control is worth the hassle of owning an investment property. In a desperate time, they could raise the rent or sell the property. Still being young, they can handle some of the maintenance and deal with meeting contractors for those things they can't handle. The government allows you to depreciate rental real estate off your taxes. Depreciation drops your tax liability way down. Also, you can write off the mileage you drive to check on your property, as well as your home office and expenses. An investment in the house in which you live, a car, or artwork won't give you money to spend. Even if those investments are going up in value, you can't access the equity for living expenses until you sell the item or refinance at a cost. On the other hand, rental property or a business that takes little to no effort on your part to operate can generate the monthly income you can use for your living expenses. If your stream of income is equal to your living expenses, you can retire and live on the profits. 3 common examples of rental property as a stream of income are residential real estate, office buildings, and industrial buildings. Your return on investment, that's ROI for short, needs to take the cost of maintenance into account, taxes, and expenses. On the plus, your property will probably increase in value. Industry averages that includes the rent, expenses, and appreciation are residential real estate, a bit over 12%. Office buildings, a bit over 16%. And industrial buildings, a bit over 10%. In deciding which one is best for you, consider the future and what's happening with the economy. Residential real estate. Well, people strive to own their own home and move out of rentals. Office buildings. More people are working from home and not renting an office. Industrial buildings. With online shopping, warehouses rent at a premium, and retail buildings are declining. If you buy an older residential rental, you'll spend more for upkeep. Maintenance on a newer property is 2% a year of its value. Maintenance on an older property is 4% a year of its value. No matter which type of rental, each can provide you with a steady stream of income, reduce your tax liability, and provide cash upon the sale. By the time you retire, have all of your rental real estate paid for in full. If the economy changes, you won't be forced to sell at a loss.